call this meeting to order for September 17. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Recording Secretary. Do we have a full commission or executive board?
We have a quorum for executive board.
All right, we'll begin the meeting, and please notify me if we have enough commissioners to come to make it a full commission meeting. Otherwise, it will be recorded as an executive board.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I'll apologize for having my back knee go. Sorry about that, but because of the presentation, I don't like to turn your back. I'm sorry for that. Approval of the minutes of August the 20th. The executive board meeting on that date is on the agenda. Hear a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes for the 20th? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Next on the agenda is the Ball State University video, Indiana Crossroads at Transit Choice.
Great. Let me set this up as Stephen gets it. I'm going to stand up just so you can hear me. Just to set this up a little bit, I wouldn't normally throw a video at you at a meeting because you're all trying to wake up and everything, but I'm going to make an exception today. And the reason is that this is so incredibly relevant to what's happening in the region with the Regional Cities Initiative application, with everything that's happening with the Westlake Corridor, with everything this region is trying to accomplish. Nick D has been very excited about this video, and I finally watched it and thought it was worthy to show you. It's a little more than 30 minutes. I'm only going to show about 18 minutes of it. We can send you the link later if you'd like to watch the full meal deal. So I'm going to ask for your forbearance and patience this morning to watch this, if we can get it up and running and get the lights down. Again, I think it really sets up everything that this region is trying to accomplish. And the folks you're going to see in this video are folks that a lot of them you already know and have worked with in other contexts. So, Stephen, if you're ready.
Yep.
We're going to play just the beginning and then skip it ahead to watch another 15 minutes.
There's only so many miles of concrete that we can put down
We need more regional connectivity, and I think rail is a really good way.
Rail in particular has a bad reputation, yet we subsidize all forms of transportation. Because when those decision makers make the final determination of where they want to be, sometimes it comes down to those intangibles. Support is growing for transit. In our work, we see that.
In the 20th century, you used to be able to get on a train and go from one part of Indiana.
Every urban area in the state was linked by some form of interurban rail.
Transit is for everyone, whether you ride it or you don't ride it.
$1 of commuter rail invested can return 3, 4, 5 times.
What I really would like, whether it's for local travel or for long distance travel, I would like a choice.
The railroads, the idea that you would open up markets.
And then, separately from the regular railroads, we had the electric interurbans. It was a new technology, electric motors supported it. And in a space of 1900 to about 1910, we got this whole complementary network.
Early in the 20th century, there are these good road movements brought about by the innovation of the automobile.
but the interurbans connected lots of these little towns to the central cities.
This is a huge movement for better roads because gravel roads or potholed roads, roads with lots of ruts and mud in them, aren't good for the automobiles. Public transportation gave way with the era of the automobile to very privatized systems of transportation.
What did in the interurbans, I think, was that no sooner had they gotten started than the automobile came along. And the automobile and the interurban were serving in some ways the same function. We're running out of space to build highways. Highways have been so successful at generating development around them that it becomes prohibitively expensive to widen them now. There's a lot of evidence that auto use is now sort of plateauing in an interesting way. So some interesting things are happening that would have seemed out of the question maybe 20 years ago.
The current state of rail transit in Indiana is that we do have the South Shore Line in the northwest part, and we have Amtrak, which is connecting different parts of the nation. We need more regional connectivity, and I think rail is a really good way to connect the regions.
The South Shore Line is a 90-mile commuter rail line that starts off in South Bend, Indiana, and its end destination terminus is Chicago Millennium Station. And so we provide both opportunities for our residents to get to their jobs and also to partake in the benefits of the city of Chicago. The South Shore is part of the fabric of this community. There isn't a home, business, restaurant, government office that you don't go into and you'll see the iconic South Shore posters. People live the South Shore. It's part of their everyday life.
Amtrak has a mix of long and short distance corridors in Indiana. We actually have three, one being Chicago, Indianapolis, and on to Cincinnati, one being across the northern part of the state serving Elkhart, South Bend. We also have our Amtrak Michigan service through the northwest corner of Indiana. At the heart of our business and our passengers is providing connectivity for folks that don't want to drive or can't drive, and same for flying. If they don't want to fly or they can't fly, Amtrak provides that travel option for them. We also have a large business of connecting communities that don't have any other mode of transportation to begin with. In the Midwest, you have Chicago to Milwaukee. You have 7 trains a day in each direction there. Chicago to Detroit and Pontiac, Michigan on our Michigan high-speed line, able to up those speeds to 110 for over 100 miles out. So we kind of point to those as very nearby, very approachable, applicable success stories that could happen in Indiana as well.
It would be wonderful to put people, take people on a tour of cities that have invested in transit to see, this works. And that's a problem here in Indiana because we don't have a lot of local examples. It's hard to do unless you physically grab people and take them and show them something.
Take a look at the growth in a community like Naperville, Illinois, that is often seen as one of the top 10 locations to live in the country. Why? There's a lot of things. It's had some good planning. It's got a neat downtown, but it also has some of the best commuter rail service in the country.
The rail system in Chicago, if we did not have it, we would all be out of luck, because it is an integral part of probably 75% of the commuters' lifestyles. The Chicago CTA transit system, the L system as we call it here, it runs every 7 to 8 minutes during rush hour, runs every 15 minutes in non-peak seasons, where the Metro train has a little varying schedule, and you can catch a train anywhere you want.
CAS is the public transportation provider for Mecklenburg County. Transit is basically a tool that we've used here in Charlotte-Mecklenburg to help organize growth. And that's what's allowed us to construct the Lynx Blue Line and the Lynx Blue Line extension. That's a 9.6 mile light rail line that extends from the center of Charlotte down to the southwest. We opened it in November of 2007. I think it was a strong statement by the citizens of Mecklenburg County that they wanted more public transportation.
You know, like anything else, there was a lot of distrust about the rail, and they didn't think it would work well for us. But in reality, the rail should have been bigger than it is.
And the idea was to try and provide, alternative transportation choices and alternative housing choices, and give folks better access and mobility to jobs and recreation opportunities.
Transit is for everyone, whether you ride it or you don't ride it.
Folks need options. For the older generation, it's I may be too old to drive, or I may want that option of not driving.
And a lot of people tend to forget that there are a lot of folks around who don't have cars. Increasingly, it includes young people who choose not to drive. This is a quite recent sort of phenomenon.
Often, I think suburban communities have concerns that this is something that's just going to benefit the downtown and folks getting downtown, but you have to think it's important to the overall region. Again, multiple counties around the urban areas that they have a healthy, thriving, growing urban downtown.
It's a social justice issue. The fact that you're providing a link to a job, you're providing someone a ride to where they need to get to work and where they can support their family. There's a saying like everyone from 8 to 80 should be able to have the option to get where they need to go. That's the major benefit of mass transportation.
Transit is not just a social service for those who are poorly off. It is something to simply make a city work better, make it the kind of place we'd like to live.
You work on your laptop on the train. You can make your business calls. You can get more out of your day that you can't get sitting in your vehicle. You're letting your blood pressure get up as you sit in traffic.
It's a mode of transportation where if you want to be distracted, you can be completely distracted.
Very many people, including myself, are able to then get some quick last-minute work done, shoot out an email, send out some kind of text or other kind of message to people.
But people with families there that want to get their kids to the library, they don't have to worry about going changing buses and not knowing what to do. You get on one station, you come back, get on the same station, you go back. It's simplicity.
If I was talking to a taxpayer, I'd explain to them that by investing in this railroad, we are able to bring individuals, Hoosiers, to Chicago, earn at rates of pay 40% higher than they might get here in the northwest section of the state, bring that back, invest it in their local communities, and in turn, then those dollars that they generate, both in sales tax and in income tax, double, triple what the initial investment was from the state.
In Indiana in particular, we have a huge presence of putting money back into the Indiana economy via our shops in Beech Grove, which does our repair work for all our equipment that we use nationwide.
The American Public Transportation Association estimated that a family can save several $1,000s each year if they take advantage of public transportation.
If I was driving, I would easily spend twice as much time. Plus, I'd have to pay for parking. So going from $45 a week to going to, $100 a week. Yeah, and that doesn't include gas, wear and tear on the car, and wear and tear on me as a person just having to deal with the stop and go traffic and all the rush hour traffic.
Having public transportation as one of the services that you offer to citizens is very important in, again, the viability and attractiveness of your region.
Cities are competing with each other, and one of the ways, one of the selling points for cities increasingly is quality of life. One of the aspects of this is what kind of transportation system will support the kind of walkable, livable, amenity-rich places.
We're competing with other cities like us for jobs and people and talent, and so we've got to provide the amenities and quality of life that those kind of people want.
I guess that's our cue to stop. I guess we were going to go a little bit further, but that's okay. The video is well worth watching. Again, this was done by Ball State University. Students did a fantastic job. We can send out the link to you if you'd like to see the whole thing. One of the great benefits of this whole video, as you got a taste of, there's even more throughout this, is the graphics that they did related to it. Not only to show the transit stops, but there's fantastic graphics about showing the capacity of roadways versus rail, and how much the rail continues on a steady, predictable pace versus traffic congestion and all the rest. So really, really relevant stuff. And Mr. Tun, if you're okay, I can just segue that into my executive director.
Please do.
Everything segues right into it. Thanks, Stephen, for setting that up. On that same note, let me follow in the same vein. If you recall, we passed a resolution in support of an application for the Regional Cities Initiative. And we are one of, I forget the exact number off the top of my head, I think it's 5 applications across the state. If somebody has a different number, feel free to correct me, I think that's right. Those presentations are happening in the beginning of October, where a group of us will be in Indianapolis to present that application. Application, I think, turned out really nice, was a nice package, and was submitted. Again, what we're talking about is a potential $42 million for double tracking on the South Shore line from Michigan City westward. So, of course, we hope that has a really positive outcome. I forget offhand when the decisions are supposed to be made, but presentations are at the beginning of October. And even more good things happening. NICTE was the recipient of an FTA grant for pilot transit-oriented development, $300,000, benefits Hammond, Dyer, Munster as well. So they'll be undertaking that study, but that's great news for the region, $300,000 for additional TOD study work. And on the vein of coordinating with Chicago, just yesterday had a great meeting. Finally was able to get one-on-one with Joe Szabo, who's the new executive director of CMAT, Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning. And again, just trying to increase our cooperation across state lines with the Chicago region. We're working on updating our cooperative agreements with CMAP and with Southwestern Michigan Regional Planning Commission. Those were signed in 2009 for CMAP. I forget the date of Southwestern Michigan, but we're working on updating those, and really, really good dialogue yesterday about ways that we can work together. I'll just mention as a reminder to keep it in your mind, because we talked about it at a meeting yesterday. Southwestern Michigan, NERC, CMAP, and Wisconsin, Southeastern Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission are all part of what's been known as the Wingspread Accord, because it was an agreement signed at the Wingspread retreat, and I think it's Racine, Wisconsin, and that pledges us basically to cooperate with our regional partners. So that dialogue is alive and well. Let me shift into some organizational things for my report. I sent the letter to the RDA that you all had requested in terms of meeting time. You'll notice Hollenbeck was here, and he has mysteriously disappeared because he had to get to the RDA meeting. That letter's been sent to Bill Hanna. Bill is in Japan, so I don't expect a response immediately, but that has been sent, aware of the situation, and hopefully we'll get that rectified. One of the things I put in the letter is a point that you all made. I think it's probably easier for their number of board members to adjust their meeting schedule than NERC's 53 commissioners that have been meeting on this date for however long it's been. So hopefully we'll get that resolved pretty soon, but that letter was sent. Some more organizational things. So Stephen, if you want to set up the Apple TV, that's great.
Yeah,
super. It's already switched over?
Yeah, we'll just
great.
turn it on.
Great. Wake it up. Wake up. We have switched as an organization to Google Apps. On one level, you shouldn't see any change at all. Staff had a little bit of adjustment to make. Hopefully everything's working well now. We weren't necessarily going to do this at the same time we were moving the office, but several things happened with our server, Exchange server with Microsoft starting to cease report, and I don't need to go into the details. And I don't know how much it will affect you on the outside, but just so you know, we've made that switch, and I think it will set us up well. The bottom line for that is that we're now a cloud-based email system. So every time we have a power outage, we don't have to worry about server outages in the building. We're now completely cloud-based for our communications. So that should provide better service for you and more continual communications now. I know Jeff has done this for a long time and has also been interested in this for a while. We are officially moved into, or at least in the process of moving into the building. If I can switch over to the Apple TV here, I'll show you some quick pictures. That started yesterday, and staff has been carting things from our other space. If you recall, we were smushed in with a lot of other folks in the forum and all into the auditorium for a period of time while that got sorted out. So, let's see if this pops up. We were having issues with this earlier. Let me make sure I'm on the Wi-Fi. Oh, there we go. Oh, was there?
Don't you slouch.
Okay, there we go. So you can just see how, if this actually advances. I'll try to keep this moving. You just get a sense of what staff has very graciously been under a bit of chaos over the last however long it's been. As we've moved stuff out, cleared the way for a complete remodel, shifted stuff around multiple times, and I've got to give a huge thank you to staff as I'm going through some of these shots. They have been phenomenal to adjust with this and roll with the punches and make this all work during this transition. So you can see how things, this is the old space, how we were getting things in the hallway, everybody was working to try to feed it. Sorry, there's a lag here. Walls came down, partitions came down. We'll get to the new space very soon here as soon as I advance through. There's a significant lag, sorry about this. The whole lobby area was, wiring was suspended from the ceilings. Folks were camped out in the front lobby area. If you've been over there, you've seen that firsthand. It's been a construction zone. Sorry, this has really got a significant delay. Let me see if I can just jump ahead to the new space. Should have had Ball State University students produce this video. So you can see it was quite the undertaking. The forum, I've said this before at the last meeting, the Northwest Indiana Forum has been just phenomenal and gracious in putting us up after our water main break. Can't thank Dewey Pyramid enough over here at Construction Advancement Foundation for giving us the space to be able to work with. So when you're able to get over there, it looks nothing like this did now. I'm just waiting for it to catch up. We're in the process of moving. That started yesterday. Again, just to recap, we won't be able to be, they have to move all the desks and things out of the auditorium space, or what was formerly known as the auditorium before, that they can start on that. So we won't be in our new meeting space over there until January, February. So we'll be able, I think we only actually might have there's 2 more meetings after this. We'll figure it out probably still here at Construction Advancement Foundation. But that'll happen then. The forum gets their updated space next, now that we've started to move in, and then the auditorium and the lobby will be worked on. So I'm just letting it catch up. While you're watching these though, I'll go ahead and jump to the next thing I was going to say, is that we have, you can see in that picture, those desks, that room is a lot more full than that picture shows. That was just the start of it. There are all those desks that are available that we are not reusing, and so we are actually going to make those available to you if you could use them in your communities. What we'll do is send out some kind of notification, and in fact today, I don't know if any other staff, if I can get somebody to even take folks over there if you're interested. If you'd like to go over to see what's physically in that auditorium space in terms of desks and see what you might want to grab, they look a lot like what was in that picture. Those will be available to the communities if you'd like to take them and could use them. I've got a listing of how much is in there, but it might be easier to have that typed up and sent out to you and show you. The downside will be that time will be of the essence because they're trying to get into that space, and we need to be responsible for trying to figure out how to get those desks out. We don't have any trucks on hand, and I don't think Terrell's traffic counting van will hold a desk. So you'd have to figure out how to come to pull them out, but you're welcome to the furniture there if you think you could use it in your community. I'm just have to give up on this. This is just painfully slow. So suffice it to say, Stephen, you don't have to shut up right now, but I'll just wrap this up with a couple other things. I'll just go through the rest of my report while this is going. The new space takes some color cues off. If you recall, we did a thematic, building from our website, NERCC's website, we did a thematic reordering of our letterhead and our business cards, and the new space reflects those colors. It's not totally those colors. It can be changed out in the future if NERCC ever did that. It's just a paint and some accent colors, so it's not forever if we ever did change. But right now it's got that, there we go, finally in the new space here. It doesn't quite look like that now because this was just before staff started moving into it. But you get a sense of what it looks like in that space. Completely new walls, completely new workstations. Kitchen has been moved, dining area has been moved, etc. Again, we'll have an open house after the forum is moved in as well, so probably in early 2016 we'll have a particular open house, and I think we just lost our connection again. So that's with the new space, and again, we'll send out a link if you'd like to follow. If I can get some staff person to take you over there if you're interested in looking at what's in the auditorium right now, you can assess that and see if you could use that in your communities. Let me jump to just one last big topic item, committees, and then I'll wrap up. Thanks for bearing with me this morning. I know this was a little bit longer. If you were very industrious and clicked on the link for the agenda the minute it came out, there was an attachment in your packet that wasn't quite ready for prime time about the committee charts. Pay no attention to that chart. That was a draft, and that should have been in the agenda. After talking with Blair about the whole committee structure, she's worked on all your preferences, but at this late in the date, a lot of those committees are already meeting and have already been populated, such as Finance and Personnel and the Legislative Committee and whatnot. We will probably not implement a lot of those committees until the beginning of the new year at this point. Blair can talk more about that, and I forgot to mention she apologizes for not being able to be here, but to thank Mr. Tunt for stepping in. So a lot of those we'll wait to actually assign, or Blair will wait to assign until we get into the new year. However, there's one committee that we do want to get off the ground and running, and that's the Transportation Resource and Oversight Committee, which is the name that we arrived at, which we realized the acronym is TROC. I don't know if that flows very well, but that's what it comes out to. That's basically all the stakeholders, all the communities, all the municipalities, all the counties, and your engineering staff or planning staff, or if you want to bring up those meetings. We will work with Gary Evers on staff, who's the primary person for that committee, to schedule something before the end of the year, and that first meeting of that, kicking off that committee, will be essentially Transportation Funding 101, where we'll make it more of a workshop to explain everything with the transportation finance process. The idea with that committee, if you remember our committee chart, was there would be one group that is overseeing the entire funding stream that's coming in here, and not just kicking it off with stakeholders at the beginning of a call for projects, but checking back with where that funding's gone all along the road. So we're anxious to get that one up and going, and that one will start soon. So we'll keep you posted as that happens. The very last thing I want to say is we have a newsletter with the moving and everything. We didn't quite get it, we're able to get it printed for you today, but the fall newsletter will be distributed to you shortly for NERCC. There'll be a piece in there about the Greenways and Blueways survey and what we're seeing with that, a piece about our new office, the new committee structure, and some more profiles. So watch your inbox for that newsletter. Again, thanks for being with me this morning. I know that was a little bit longer, but there's been a lot going on. So I'm anxious for you to see the new space. I'm anxious for you to get back over to the auditorium, whatever we're going to call it, when that becomes available. Thanks.
Question, what kind of lighting is in the building over there?
What kind of lighting?
Yeah, is it LED or is it?
It's a mix. There's some things, but it depends on the room that you're in. There's some funky lighting areas in the dining area, for example, to more things like this in the main work area. So, and some track lighting against some of the walls, so it's a mix of things. But there's some LED over there. Just about everything in that new space is reused. There's some new things, but not very much. So in that sense, it's a green space in that there's not a whole lot of new manufacturing that went into that space. It was taken from other places, and yet it looks like it's new. So our architect was really good about seizing opportunities when they became available for things. Some stuff got switched out at the last minute because something suddenly came online that we could get that was already existing. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you for your report. We will move now to the Finance and Personnel Committee, and I'll call on Commissioner Allen to give us a report on this morning's meeting, please.
Good morning. The Finance and Personnel Committee met at 8 a.m. this morning, and there was a review of our financial status of the organization, and there were no cash issues. There was also a review and evaluation of our claims register, which was unanimously approved. Another item that was acted on at our committee meeting was the LaPorte Revolving Loan Fund Management Plan, which was approved by the Finance Committee to be forwarded to the EDA for their approval. Most of the meeting was used to examine and analyze and question our draft 2016 budget. So that's an ongoing process, and after subsequent changes are made, the final draft will be presented to the executive committee or the full board at your next meeting for your approval. And that was primarily the business that was carried on at the Finance Committee meeting this morning. There were no items to be brought to the full board or the executive committee for any action this morning. So, Mr. Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner. We will move then to, unless there are questions, we'll move to the Environmental Management Policy Committee. Before we do that, I will ask the recording secretary, there's some folks have joined us. Do we have a full commission? Okay, so that means executive board will take action, so movement, making a motion or a second will have to be done by an executive board member. So Mr. Benson, Environmental Management Policy Committee, please.
Thank you. We have, excuse me, we held a EMPC, Environmental Management Policy Committee meeting, and one of the things that was pushed out of there, choice of words bad, that was the Septic Smart Week resolution. So the EPA is, their Septic Smart Week this year is September 21st through the 25th. And they've asked that communities embrace this, advertise it, and make their own resolutions. And this is septic awareness. There's a lot of communities, a lot of houses in the 3 counties and in the state of Indiana that have septic systems, and this is to make people more aware of them, take care of them, etc. And so the resolution is included in your packet, and it's resolution 15-224, and the EMPC is requesting that the executive board make a motion to approve this resolution.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the resolution? It's 1524 under Environmental Management Policy Committee. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
And there is there's a packet that you can get from Kathy Luther or Doreen Carey from the EPA that has Doreen Carey's with IDNR. But the packet comes from the EPA that has blank resolutions. It has information about Septic Smart, the septic systems, and you can put it on your town's website and have brochures for your town. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much. We're ready for our Transportation Policy Committee. Mr. Dobus.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Transportation Policy Committee met on September 8th. We have 4 actions for consideration. The first is on Resolution 1523, which is found on pages 16 through 22 in the meeting packet. This is the third amendment of FY 2016 Unified Planning Work Program. Iman Abram will discuss or describe the proposed amendment.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Today, we are requesting an action for Resolution 1523, which is an amendment to the Unified Planning Work Program. We are required as NPO in our planning document, the UPWP, to include all regional transportation planning. So we are required to include all transportation planning projects, even though if it's not performed by NERC, if it's county, any municipalities, any jurisdiction here, we have to include it in our unified planning program. So today, this amendment include 4 projects, 2 for LaPorte County, and 1 for Michigan City, and 1 for City of LaPorte. So all of the 4 projects use the Surface Transportation Program funding, Group 2, which is the county and the 2 cities, LaPorte and Michigan City, and it's all with the match coming from each community. So the first project for LaPorte County, that's for an economic development corridor project, phase 1. And in this project, they will determine an alternate route and design parameters of highway improvement that is needed because of the increased level of freight traffic between Kingsbury Industrial Park and State Route 39 and I-80, 90 and 94. So they will be looking, now they are doing some analysis, it's a different study now, to look at traffic data and recommend some alternative. This study also will include an NEPA document and have the project ready for that. The total amount for this project is $297,500,000. So they have 80% federal funding, and then $59,500 that's a local match. The second project for LaPorte County, it's a pavement management inventory project. And in this one, they will perform an evaluation for all the roadways within the county, and to design and develop an ongoing preventive maintenance for all of these roadways. City of LaPorte also conducting the same study, but on the city level, to look also and evaluate what's need maintenance for future improvements. The fourth project is for Michigan City. They requested federal funds to conduct a plan and assessment for the Franklin Street drawbridge. This bridge is 83 years old, and now it needs a repair, and it needs to think how they're gonna maintain it or reconstruct some of this. And this one also is gonna cost $500,000 with our $100,000 local match from Michigan City. So today I'm requesting this action on the 4 projects for LaPorte County, Michigan City, and City of LaPorte.
Mr. Chairman, the committee recommends action on Resolution 1523.
Is there a motion for 1523?
So moved.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Resolution passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ahead of the following 3 actions, Stephen Stosteric will present results from the public comment period that can be found on page 23.
It's working. No. Okay, great. Apparently we have real ones today.
Sorry about that, but thanks for being flexible. So, page 23 of your agenda, we have a very brief public comment report on amendments 3, 4, and 5 to the Transportation Improvement Program. There was a 7-day public comment period that was held, as stated in our 2014 Public Participation Plan. The dates for that were August 28th through September 3rd. As you see here, there were no comments regarding the amendments that were received during that time, and this report reflects that, and it is included for your information. It was also sent out in advance, and the usual reporting of the comment period, the fact that the opportunity to comment was available was advertised to our stakeholders, all of you, on our social media, our website, etc. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.
The second action is Resolution 1519 on pages 24 through 26. The amendment to the fiscal year 2016-2019 Transportation Improvement Program. Gary Evers will describe the proposed amendment.
Thank you. This amendment adds 2 new NDOT projects to the TIP. Both of these have been long in coming, and we're glad to see that being implemented. These are improvements at State Road 130 and County Line, the Lake Quarter County Line Road. NDOT is adding turn lanes and signalizing that intersection. We would like, we request that you approve this amendment.
The Transportation Policy Committee recommends action on 1519.
Is there a motion on 1519? I have 2 motions.
Well, then I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on 1519?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I would suggest that the traffic or transportation designers be mindful of the drainage issues of that localized area. See if they can assist the counties facilitating that and the state.
Any further comment? Hearing none, all those in favor of the adoption of 1519 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Resolution 1519 is passed.
The third action is on Resolution 1520 on pages 27 through 30. The fourth amendment to the fiscal year 2016-2019 Transportation Improvement Program. Again, Gary Evers will describe the proposed amendment.
Thank you. These are all local public agency projects being done by cities and towns and counties. The first project involves reconstruction of 45th Street at Calumet Avenue. The town of Munster has requested some additional funding out of the demonstration funds for preliminary engineering on that project. Second project, well, actually the second and third project are related. The second one involves a small planning project that NERC will undertake to develop some standardized trail signage for use on trails that are presently unmarked within Lake and Porter counties. The second project is Town of Highland, which has graciously agreed to sponsor a project to get those signs installed. So we're very much looking forward to that. The fourth project on is Town of Lowell, in what I believe will be our final bicycle rack installation project. We will be installing, or the Town of Lowell will be installing some bike racks throughout the Town of Lowell. On the next page, City of Hobart will be installing some, is Kathy Luther here? Okay. Stormwater best management practices and some stormwater outlet debris separators, I guess I'll call it that, I believe it's almost a dozen locations throughout downtown Hobart. These things that I look at as being kind of like gutter helmets for our gutters, but instead they're in the ground and they're intended to catch leaves, sticks, trash, and other debris separate them. The city will come along periodically and clean them out. It's all an environmental best practice. It's kind of an innovative thing that we're looking forward to seeing implemented. Lake County is taking on another bridge inspection project in the next few years, and City of Hammond has requested some additional preliminary engineering work for their reconstruction of the roadway formerly known as State Road 312. And finally, we are deleting one project, and I'll explain this a little bit further. Within the last 45 days, NDOT has awarded the town of Munster a grant of $9 million to help construct the realignment of 45th Street from just east of Calumet Avenue to Calumet Avenue. This involves a grade separation structure. The cost is approximately $35 million. And there had been a funding gap existing for some time. NERC will be providing $9.6 million. Munster will be providing $16 million, and NDOT will be providing $9 million. But we are deleting the grade separation structure project individually because it's being included in the whole project. So I wanted to point that out to you. With this said, I would ask for this group of amendments to be adopted.
The Transportation Policy Committee recommends action on 15-20.
15-20 is on the table. Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve Resolution 15-20.
Second. A motion and a second on 15-20. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
It's great that Mulberry's approaching the stormwater quality standpoints and transportation planning. Like Gary was referring to, trash racks or swirl separators. They're kind of complex mechanisms. They require a lot of maintenance, however, should improve water quality substantially.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of 15-20 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
15-20 is approved.
The final action is on Resolution 1521 on pages 31 through 33. The fourth amendment to the fiscal year 2016-2019 Transportation Improvement Program for transit projects. Linda Petrosky will describe this proposed amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. These two projects for Section 5310 of FDA funds are both in LaPorte County. And these, in LaPorte County is the only county up here eligible to participate in this program, which is statewide. 5310 funds come to Lake and Porter County separately. So that's why there's only LaPorte County. And these have been selected, each for vehicles for the Parents and Friends Agency and for Michiana Resources. We are asked, of course, to put these in our TIP so that NDOT Public Transit will proceed with the state grant. And I would point out, in case anybody notices, the DES number for these two are the same. It's not a mistake. NDOT has chosen to show all of the 5310 programs with one DES number. End of my report, Mr. Chairman.
The Transportation Policy Committee recommends action on 1521.
Is there a motion on 1521?
So moved.
Have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
2 seconds. That's good. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 1521 is passed.
Thank you. Next meeting date of Transportation Policy Committee will be moved up 1 week to Tuesday, October 6th, here at the Construction Advancement location. The statewide MPO conference will be taking place the following week. This necessitates the move. And this concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Powers, how things going at NDOT?
Lovely.
Great. Glad to hear that.
I actually have a mic in front of me, so I know my voice is probably going to break. I've got whatever sinus thing is attacking, so if you can't hear me, I'll try and do my best. I have a few updates. Anybody's been to Indy recently and come north, you know, you can come north on 65 now that the bridge reopened on the lake. The repairs were complete, went as smoothly as they could have gone. Actually, we got a lot of maintenance done on that stretch, 65 as well, some bridge maintenance, general repairs. Just can't get it right. All right, let's try this again. Everybody hear me in regard to the bridge reopening? All right, the bridge on 65 North had reopened over Labor Day weekend. NDOT took advantage of that long stretch of road being closed for all that time to perform routine maintenance on the pavement, bridges, other areas. Did some cuts. We did any number of areas, again, taking full advantage of it being closed since it was closed. It's actually in better shape now as a result, although very inconvenienced, I'm sure, to the owner and public. Overall, I think it went well. The engineering effort was spectacular to take what they did and get the bridge open as quickly as they did, quite frankly, considering the magnitude of the issue they were addressing. Again, it's open. No further issues to report in that regard. We're getting ready within the district for winter. Feels like summer outside, but we know better. Our fleet primarily is where we're focusing on. Last year we had a major challenge in that regard. We've been focusing since our spring inspections on improving the fleet, not so much with purchases, but with maintenance, trying to take care of what we have. And we do have some new purchases coming in, but not to the level that we'd be, quote, replacing the fleet. So we've had an ongoing effort to focus on maintenance throughout this summer season, construction season, to get us where we are. We're just about through with our chip sealing throughout this season, so that should be, I guess, finishing up probably over this next month or so. We did have to delay a project on the south area where we had the detour route coming back into our district because of the bridge issue, but we also believe we're going to be able to finish that now, whereas we had initially programmed it for next spring because we didn't want to interfere with the detour traffic. So that's moving along. Actually, sitting to my right, this question came up last meeting about cable barriers. They're done. In fact, I didn't realize that that meeting, we were on the south side of the district, moved north out of Rensselaer. They were actually working on 65 as we were in that meeting on the cable barriers as part of their maintenance work program. So I believe they are all addressed that we have installed, or unless we've had an accident and one's went down since. So it is an ongoing maintenance effort, as I said before. If anyone sees one and would like me to address it, please let me know. It's not hard most of the time, but there are issues where if we have anchor points that are damaged, we may need special equipment. For the most part, though, the cables are relatively easy to, I guess, reinstall if they're hit midpoint. Kind of like the old farm way in me, but when barbed wire would go down, if you go midpoint, disconnect from 3 or 4 poles, put the wire back up and restaple, you're good. That's kind of the same point. That's one of the benefits of the cable barrier. Unless it's damaged at an anchor point, they're relatively easy to take care of. So they should be up here. I hope you're seeing that stable should be maintained. That's pretty much all I have for an update, unless anyone has any questions for me. And I'm sure you do.
Question or comment for Mr. Powers?
I have a recommendation, actually. You know, I know Mayor Copeland just announced in East Chicago that 311 app that you guys are doing. We implemented in Hammond the 311 app 2 years ago, actually, before the election. You know, but the app has turned out great. People love it. My employees hate it, and they hate it because it's total accountability, and it goes right to the source. If there's graffiti, somebody tags a wall, it goes right to graffiti removal. If there's a pothole, it goes right to the street department. And Hammond residents have taken this 311 app and love it. They all download it, and they report it like crazy. If a cable barrier was down and NDOT had a similar type of app, you would find out instantaneously, because I would be like the police officer going around. But I appreciate it, Rick, you doing that.
Actually, he threw me a softball and didn't know it. I did not grab it. Matt Dykshley, actually, our communication director, will be leading an effort on, actually, the project manager is going to be reporting that statewide. We are reviewing our customer service approach, if you will, statewide, and I'm sure one of those areas that we'll look at is app development, if you will, relative to reporting issues, potholes, the down and dirty, quick and easy, where we should all do it relatively the same. Guardrail maintenance, potholes, snow issues, those types of things where the answer and the response to your point of measurement and accountability should be relatively easy to address to the public. And again, holding us accountable to the point of what we're doing. So that is going to be integral to that statewide. We're actually looking at an RFP now to bring a project manager on board. you should see some of those very things. Somewhat modeling, if any of you are familiar with the Indianapolis Mayor's Action Center, call center, that's very similar to what the mayor described to 311. It's a very accountable point. I came from that world, in fact, and it did build our accountability to a great degree because anybody called was given a control number. That control number went into our legacy system. We're not getting into the weeds. We cut the grass. So any of those things that came in, of course, the clock started ticking, and any time the citizen could call back and say, here's my control number, I called you 10 days ago, you said 5, what's the problem? And invariably, we would address the issue. So we're trying to get to that point at a statewide level. It's going to be a big undertaking, but Matt can handle it again. I know the project manager will be reporting to him, and so see LaPorte taking on, the lead to a degree in that from the state. So look forward to seeing more of that. Thanks for bringing it up.
It seems like a very positive initiative.
It should be excellent. I think we're done.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll turn the table back over to our executive director.
Thank you. I'd just like to congratulate Mr. Tun. We have been exactly on time down to the minute on that agenda, so just congratulations. Since we had the video set up, there's only don't panic, it's only a 45-second spot. This is a video that Broward County, Florida has put out that has been making the rounds in that whole spirit of the Transportation Resources Oversight Committee trying to demystify the transportation funding process. This video has been so well received in trying to explain what an NPO is that we thought we'd share it with you to close off the agenda today before we get to public comments and whatnot. This was shown at TPC, and we thought we'd go ahead and take 45 seconds to show it to you today. Thanks, Steve.
Every time you fill up, a portion of the money collected at the pump is used by your local MPO. The MPO, the Metropolitan Planning Organization, is the agency of local officials making transportation things happen, and these agencies exist across the nation. They are the brains that oversee how the funds are managed and which projects get done when. Projects that affect how people and things get around, like adding new sidewalks and bike lanes, fixing up bus shelters, enhancing transit, as well as other projects like improving airports and seaports. The MPO's mission is to implement a transportation plan that reflects your region's shared vision for the future. Get involved at browardnpo.org.
Okay, that was quite specific and to the point, and might be useful for our anniversary year to take on the road. Get some councils or some other local agencies some information. Might be something to take on the road. Just a thought. Bring it up for your consideration. Any other business?
Mr. President.
Yes.
Yesterday we had attended a meeting with the Nexus, which is a group of business people that are formulating a plan of LaPorte, actually it's LaPorte District, Rick knows, and they put that plan out last year. It's a 30-year plan, and they have it set in tiers of things to do in the whole area. And I would like to see us get Mr. Holt here. He has a very good presentation, and I think everybody here would appreciate that presentation because it covers all of us. So I would make that recommendation because the program is very good.
Okay, thank you. We'd like to contact you. We'll be making contacts and we'll be there. Thank you for your recommendation. Any other other business, sorry. Any other business? All right, we're prepared then for public comment, and Mr. Nowacki has an agenda item he would like to discuss or present comments on.
Can I address the board from here? Okay, thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Jim Nowacki. I'm a resident of the city of Gary, and I'm all pumped up about that commercial about NPOs. Very excited about being a getting involved with my local MPO. The last meeting, I brought to the board's attention the conflict between the RDA and the Northwest Indiana Regional Planning Commission. This board passed a resolution addressing that and requesting that the RDA take some steps so that there will not be a conflict between the two meetings. I noticed early in this meeting that conflict was very apparent in that Attorney Hollenbach, who represents both NERC and RDA, came in just in time to get his voucher stamped, maybe collect his check, and then rush right over to the RDA. I have no objection to him double billing, but it seems to me that we should expect our attorneys to give us undivided attention when they're working for us here at the exciting Northwest Indiana Regional Planning Commission. This is not a small issue. As we look at the RDA funding and the RDA representation, the RDA represents two counties. They represent Lake County and Porter County. Lake County provides $14 million in funding. Porter County provides $3.5 million in funding. The state provides none. The state has two representatives on the board. Porter County has one, but they've got in the new legislation, their $3.5 million has to be spent in their county. It's not necessarily that Lake County money has to be spent in Lake County. It can be used in other issues. We've also got the conflict at the RDA, not only with the representation and the money, but the conflict that we have here. This organization represents a much larger area, Lake County, Porter County, LaPorte County. And we have a weighted vote, which is fine. But the big project that we've got coming up, and this is where these conflicts will become very apparent to me and maybe members of the commission. The big project coming up is this the western expansion of the South Shore. Now here we have the very unusual circumstance that it represents from Lake County all the way to LaPorte County, a 9-member board, but Lake County, which represents 80% of the ridership, only has 2 representatives on that board. And all of the money that's being funneled through the RDA doesn't come through the RDA. It all goes right to the South Shore, so that Lake County, representing the project, the largest part of the project, the largest part of the representation of ridership, has very little representation on that board. So I'm going to remind the board that we passed a resolution last time regarding conflict of interest between the RDA. It's not simply semantics, it's a very real conflict. You represent a different area and different ideas than the RDA does, and when you throw in the very close relationship between the RDA funding the NICD and the massive amount of money that's going to go through there, and Lake County having such little representation, even though they represent $14 million of RDA funding and 80% of the passengers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I just want to remind the board that it's a serious matter, and it's a matter that we shouldn't allow Mr. Hollenbach to dance in here and then dance out to take care of business at the RDA, because I believe that there's a conflict, and I think the board the commissioners have recognized that, but I don't think we've taken enough action on it, and I would urge the board to look at it more seriously. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nowacki. I have no other public comment entries on the warrant. Were there any announcements to be made? Mr. Carnahan, what news have you from Cedar Lake?
One good item that I learned this morning, that the organization that has this facility doesn't charge us any money to use it. And I think we ought to commend them and maybe send them a letter thanking them for that. Also, a sad note is the mayor of Porter just recently lost his father, and I think we ought to remember his family in prayer.
Okay, I think Mr. Benson, you had your hand up.
I did. So, part of the Environmental Policy Committee, we try to help out with watersheds, the Lake Michigan watershed, and my day job at Dunes Learning Center helps bring in, we've applied for some federal grants to help pay for Michigan City, Hammond, Gary, and Hobart this year, bring in the canoe mobile. So far this year, we will have over 4,300 kids in these Voyager canoes that are 24 feet long. They're in, like I said, in Hammond on Wolf Lake, in Gary on Marquette Lagoons, and in Hobart on Lake George. The idea is not just for kids, it's for senior centers. Anybody can get in these canoes. They hold 10 people. It is a wonderful experience. It's team building. The canoes don't move forward unless we work together. That it is an incredible experience. Every day for 3 weeks after school hours is open. The whole Hammond, Clark, middle and high school, their whole staff is coming out for a team building exercise. There's a boys and girls clubs. This is a wonderful experience. It's free. The federal government gave us the grant to pay for it. Come out, see what this is like. If you come at lunch, drive over to Wolf Lake, the pavilion. It's a beautiful facility, and there'll be an army of canoes and kids. Paddle, Wolf Lake, Marquette Lagoons, come see us. There's 2 community days. There's one on September 26th in Michigan City to paddle, and there's one in Hammond on October 3rd. And anybody that shows up can go in the canoe and go right. And it is a wonderful, wonderful experience. So a week in Michigan City, and then Hammond, Gary, and Hobart. It's currently in the Kankakee, and the Kankakee River Basin Commission is paid for that week. And these are 2-year grants, so it's this year and next year, and it's a wonderful experience.
Thank you for that information. Mr. Bryce?
I was just going to address what Mr. Messick just said. Actually, in the Post-Tribune this morning, was a picture of the kids who were taking advantage of the Voyager canoes down the Kankakee River, down at Dunsbridge. We served about 800 kids, 4th graders primarily, from South LaPorte, Porter County schools, Jasper and Stark County, and we might have gotten to school in another county too. But the Kankakee River Basin Commission serves 8 counties, and we thought it was a great activity to also enrich the kids with the cultural and historic knowledge of the Kankakee River. So we went a different direction than the team building, but it's an opportunity to educate kids about what our resources are here, and also to help with that paddle and pedal community that we're trying to increase.
Okay, very good, Mr. Chair. Yes, sir.
I have to mention on the topic of this, Michigan City will be opening the first ADA accessible kayak launch in the state of Indiana this Saturday, cutting the ribbon. This was a coastal project, but certainly is part of the blazing of the blue trails in Northwest Indiana and contribution to the quality of life we enjoy here. But I also wanted to bring up and thank Ty for sharing the video on the rail we saw at the beginning of the meeting. I think this is a really good tool to take back to our communities that can talk about how to leverage rail for economic impact. On that note, I would just say on a personal note, I am very pleased with the leadership of Mike Nolan and Nick D, the South Shore Railroad, as he likes to call it, who is really promoting these concepts of transit-oriented development and the resulting emerging commuter markets that can come from them. Every time he gets the chance, he throws out the goal to get to Chicago from South Bend in 90 minutes and from Michigan City to Chicago in 60 minutes. And that, for us, is a massive game changer. That just changes the landscape, and so many things become possible because we have a chance to build critical mass in a commuter zone. So former literally, these concepts were not easy sells to NICD in my experience, but now you have leadership that's coming from a background that a rail line runs through every single grand slam home run downtown through northwest suburbs of Chicago, and it works. And, this is how I think we can compete. It's the future. We want to bring young people back to Northwest Indiana. The millennials like public transportation. This stuff takes a long time, but I think we start now and we start leveraging these assets that I feel were under leveraged for so long. They're great ideas. So I think this video could be taken back to our communities and shown. And some of this is an education process, but there's no doubt that the economic impact results from the leveraging of this rail. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. I'd like to circle back to a minute. Mr. Carnahan made a suggestion that we send a letter of appreciation to Construction Advancement Foundation. Is that consensus? It can be written by the board on behalf of the board. The consensus, any objection? Okay. Thank you, sir, for your suggestion.
Mr. Chair?
Appreciate it. Yes.
I'd like to make an announcement. Next Thursday, on the 24th, the Michigan City and LaPorte Economic Development Corporations are hosting what is called Made in LaPorte County. This is going to be held at the former Whirlpool Complex in LaPorte. We have over 50 companies that are manufacturers and distributors that will be setting up the products that they actually make in LaPorte County. It's a great experience for the kids. We have 1,000 high school and middle school kids coming through. The mayors will be welcoming everybody, the mayors of Michigan City and LaPorte. This is the 4th event that we've had, and the public is invited. It's free to the public, but there are products from little widgets to the big air compressors that Solaire makes, and it's from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock next Thursday on the 24th.
Thank you, Mr. Schaefer. Appreciate the information. There being no other comments?
Mr. Chair?
Yes?
Actually, take an opportunity to plug in Dot as an employer if I could. It's that time of year when we need seasonal employees, plow drivers, so on. And I know a lot of you probably already have hyperlinks on your job pages or whatever on your cities to the Indiana job site. But if you know people who want to drive or want to start a career in that transportation industry, now would be a time to look at NDOT, because we do need drivers. Actually, quite often we need drivers throughout the year, believe it or not. The turnover, it's a little higher than I'd like to see. But also in our construction area. It's coming to the end of the season, but same there. We're always looking for construction inspectors and those type of trades. So if you don't already have it on your job board, again, we all want people to work in our area, and NDOT is present in just about every area you have, from a unit level, a sub-level, or even the report itself. If you have anyone you'd like to offer a suggested employee, please let us know.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Good entry-level opportunity there.
Very much so. Very much so.
Okay, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second. Those in favor?
Can't get done with the meeting.